Have you ever been in this situation? You are speaking English, everything is fine. You are following the conversation, and suddenly it's your turn. Your brain freezes. Your mouth opens, and all you can say is, and today I will explain in detail how we can overcome this problem and how native speakers manage to speak so well. Number one, time buying phrases. Let's start with something very important. When fluent speakers pause, it doesn't mean they don't know what to say. It means they're thinking out loud. That's the difference. Most learners think fluency means speaking nonstop, perfectly without hesitation. That's not real life. Real conversations are full of pauses. The only difference is this: fluent speakers fill those pauses with words. So when your brain freezes, instead of saying and panicking, you say something that buys you time. For example, that's a good question. Instantly, you've taken control of the moment. Now you have 3 to 4 seconds to think. Or, let me think for a second. Nobody thinks that sounds awkward. It sounds natural. Or, how can I explain this? Now your brain is working, but you're still speaking. You haven't stopped. Another powerful one, what I mean is, even if you're not sure what you mean yet, it keeps you moving. And that's the key. Fluent people don't avoid thinking, they think while speaking. When you say one of these phrases, something interesting happens. The silence disappears, the pressure drops. Your brain relaxes because the conversation didn't break. You stayed in control. And once you feel in control, your words come back faster. So the goal is not to eliminate pauses. The goal is to manage them. Because silence creates panic, but structured pauses create fluency. Number two, reset phrase. Let's talk about the moment that feels the worst. You start a sentence confidently. I was thinking about the possibility of, and then nothing. Your structure collapses, you forget the word. You realize the sentence is too complicated, and panic kicks in. Most learners do one of two things. They stop completely, or they say, sorry, I'm sorry, and give up. But fluent speakers do something different. They reset, not silently, out loud. For example, what I'm trying to say is, this is magic, because it gives you permission to restart without looking lost. Or, let me say that differently. Now it doesn't look like you made a mistake. It looks like you are refining your idea. Or, actually, what I wanted to say was, see what's happening? You're not apologizing, you're continuing. Because the biggest problem when you freeze is not the mistake. It's the feeling that the conversation has broken. Reset phrases fix that instantly. They tell the listener, I'm still here. I'm still in control. And here is something important. Native speakers use these all the time. They restart, they rephrase, they change direction mid-sentence, but they don't panic about it. They treat it as normal. And once you start doing the same, your fear drops. Because now you know, even if the sentence collapses, I can recover. And that's what fluency really is. Not perfect speaking, recovery. Number three, the escape to simple technique. Most of the time, you don't freeze because you don't know English. You freeze because you're trying to sound impressive. You start building a long sentence. I was thinking about the possibility of improving my communication skills in order to, and halfway through, your brain collapses. Too many moving parts, too many grammar decisions, too much pressure, and everything falls apart. Here's the secret. Fluency is not complexity. Fluency is simplicity. When your brain starts overheating, escape. Drop the complicated structure. Switch to simple. Instead of, I was thinking about the possibility of, say, I think maybe. Or instead of, I would like to emphasize the importance of, say, is truly important. Instead of, I was wondering whether it would be appropriate to, say, maybe we can. Simple sentences move. Complex sentences freeze. Fluent speakers don't try to build masterpieces while talking. They choose speed over elegance. And here is something powerful. Nobody gives you extra points for complicated English in normal conversation. People care about clarity, and clarity usually sounds simple. So the next time you feel yourself building a heavy sentence in your head, stop, shrink it, shorten it, make it lighter, and keep talking. Because fluency grows in simple structures repeated confidently, not in complicated sentences built under pressure. Number 4, the mini structure formula. When your brain goes blank, it's usually because you're trying to invent a sentence from scratch. That's heavy. So instead of building something new every time, use a simple structure. 3 parts. I think, because, for example. That's it. When someone asks you something and you freeze, don't search for a perfect answer. Start with I think. Now your brain has direction. Then, because. Now you're exploring, and if you need more time, for example, now you're giving detail. Let's say someone asks, do you think social media is good or bad? Instead of building a long, complicated answer, say, I think it's good because it helps people connect. For example, I can talk to my friends who live far away. That's not advanced English, but it flows. And flow is what feels fluent. When you use structure, your brain stops panicking because now you're not guessing what comes next. You are following a path, and structure reduces fear. That's why public speakers use frameworks. That's why teachers use outlines. Your brain loves predictability. And when your brain feels guided, it relaxes. Now let's go one step further. What if you truly don't know the word? What if you really can't remember it? There is where confidence either breaks or grows. Number 5, the honesty strategy. You're speaking, you're in the flow, and suddenly you don't know the word. It's right there in your mind in your own language, but in English, nothing. And this is usually where panic explodes. Your heart speeds up. Your brain screams, you see, you're not fluent, and you shut down. But here is what fluent speakers actually do. They don't pretend, they don't freeze, they say it honestly. I'm not sure how to say this, but, or I don't know the exact word, but, and then they continue. That's it. And something powerful happens. The pressure drops because now you're not hiding, you're communicating. Native speakers do this all the time, even in their own language. They say, I don't know the word for it. How do you call this? I can't remember the term. It doesn't make them look stupid. It makes them human. And here is the real shift. When you admit you don't know a word, you take control of the moment. You stop being afraid of exposure because you exposed yourself calmly. And when fear loses its power, fluency grows. Also, something practical happens. The other person often helps you. They give you the word. Now you've learned it naturally inside a real conversation. That's powerful learning. So instead of thinking, if I don't know a word, I should speak, think, if I don't know a word, I'll still speak. Because communication is not about perfect vocabulary. It's about keeping the connection alive. And connection is more important than perfection. So here is what I want you to remember. Fluency is not about always knowing what to say. It's about knowing what to say when you don't know what to say. That's the difference. You don't freeze because your English is bad. You freeze because you think silence means failure. But silence is normal. Pauses are normal. Forgetting words is normal. The only difference between you and fluent speakers is this. They don't panic when it happens. They fill a space, they reset, they simplify, they continue. And now you can too. You don't need new grammar, you don't need a bigger vocabulary, you don't need perfect sentences. You just need a few lifelines, a few phrases, a few structures, a few honest words. And suddenly, the fear disappears. Because now, even if your brain goes blank, you're not stuck, you are prepared. So the next time you feel that silence coming, don't fight it. Say something, anything that keeps you moving. Because fluency is not about never freezing. It's about never stopping. And now you know how to keep going. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.